Okay, so 10-mark question. Let's get right on with it. Assess whether complete nationalisation, this looks like a good question, of the rail industry might protect employees. Let's comment on whether this is going to protect or harm employees. And honestly, there are arguments on both sides, but let's just investigate. And of course, we're talking about labour markets here, so it would not be price on the y-axis, it will be wage and then quantity of labour. And then let's have a look at this diagram. So we obviously have supply of labour, demand of labour. Remember, firms, we do the supplying, so we humans, households do the supplying of labour and firms do the demanding of labour. But now, where is a maximum price set? So, if a maximum price, if this is equilibrium wage, what do they want to do? So, equilibrium wage, for example, in this scenario would have been, I think, £495,000. So, that is the wage that individual executive got. What they're trying to do, they're trying to lower that wage. Therefore, the maximum wage will be set below the equilibrium wage. So, I'm going to put W max. Now, let's see how this affects. How does this affect the price and the wage and the quantity of labour? So, of course, the quantity supplied is now at this point and quantity demanded now it is at that point. So, Q1 and Q2. So, now what does it represent? Quantity supplied of labour is at Q1 and quantity demanded of labour is at Q2. And remember, quantity demanded is firms and quantity supplied is households, us. Therefore, what does this discrepancy represent? This discrepancy, therefore, of course, represents excess demand. And excess demand is another word for a shortage of labour. And in this specific scenario, if you look back at the extract, it's talking about a maximum wage for executives at companies. So executives, of course, high-level managers, high levels in companies. That means that it could lead to, one negative of nationalisation is that it could lead to a shortage of executive managers as it will set these maximum wages. And that could, of course, trickle down. It could affect, if there's less managers, it means employees are not, the base level of employee is not well managed, thus leading to inefficiencies and negative effects overall. Then what we do is, firstly, forget the maximum wage, just talk about the noble labour market diagram. Talk about at equilibrium, we, of course, have, you call that Q3, and the wage of PE, which is, of course, 495,000, which means we have Q3 amount of managers, and with that amount of managers, they're able to, of course, manage the train drivers, manage the employees well. But then, when the government intervenes, of course, now with nationalisation means the government controls it, and they want to reduce the wage of these executives, they're going to set a maximum wage. Then talk about the problems with the maximum wage. Of course, these very high-level, highly skilled executives no longer want to work if their wages are capped. Therefore, they reduce the supply of labour, meaning that the supply of labour goes down from Q3 to now Q1. But at these low wages, of course, these firms, the nationalised firm, now wants to demand more of these managers. This leads to a discrepancy, which is excess demand, shortage of labour. As of course, executives are still employees of the firm, and they are worse off. As for example, they may no longer have a job, and also other employees are worse off. That's why they might not have a manager to refer to, and they might be doing it all independently since all the managers have been sacked, for example.